Hello everyone, welcome to today's live stream on my opera and classical singing channel. If you are not subscribed, make sure you subscribe for more videos about opera and classical singing. Duh, of course it is. No, but seriously, on this channel it's very unfiltered, very real and raw because I don't really edit videos here. And I just kind of record myself as I practice, as I go through things and just thoughts that come to mind that I want to share. This is what this channel is all about. Just to tell you one more time who I am. My name is Freya Casey. I'm a singer and vocal coach from Germany. I've been singing and coaching professionally for more than 20 years. I'm actually a trained opera singer. You can't see it right now, but it's up here. They are my diplomas. It doesn't really matter in the matter of singing. It doesn't matter in the world of singing whether you have a diploma or not, but I guess maybe for some people it's like, okay, it's legit or something. I just realized my t-shirt has a stain. Never mind. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Nobody would have noticed. I do have a bachelor's and a master's in opera performance. So it's what I used to do. And I used to sing lead roles. I only had lead roles ever. I never really had a smaller role. And I don't know if I would have enjoyed this. If you're a soloist, you know, it's like you either sing the great arias and the greatest parts where you're like, you know, in the center of the tension. Otherwise, it's not rewarding. If you're a true soloist, and that's me, it's just like, it's not a matter of like, oh, I want to be the center of attention. It's just, it's fun. It's the work you want to put into it because singing a lead role is a lot of work. That is the truth. So let me make sure I'm opening up the chat. Today, we will talk all about the high voice. So yesterday we talked about the middle voice. If you have not watched that live stream, you may want to go back there because it's what you will use most of the time. It's where most of the tessitura of the pieces you sing will sit. The tessitura is kind of like, where does it sit most of the time? And so the truth is, you're not really hanging out there on the high pitches a lot. Now, there are slightly different approaches whether you are a male singer or a female singer. Let me talk about the female singers first, and then I'm going to also touch on male singers. The reason why it's such a different approach is because as female singers, we sing mostly in head voice. So the middle and high voice is all the way head voice. And if you're a male singer, you're going to have the register transition somewhere on the higher end. So it's very different. And as a soprano or a female singer, you sing mostly that high and middle will always be in your head voice. You only need your chest voice for the lower parts. So that's why there is a big difference because the register transition is a huge thing in the voice and it never will disappear. It's always there. It's always a thing. It's always an issue, not necessarily to the point where it's giving you huge trouble. You do learn to navigate through it, but it's different. So let's talk about soprano or like female voice, high voice in classical singing, which will be head voice. And then, of course, as we go higher and higher, we may, if you're a really high voice, you may eventually transition into your whistle tone. Hi, Tanya. I see you're here. Oh, my performance of the doll aria. You know what? There are little snippets of videos. I'm trying to collect them. There was a professional video made, but that's not going to be available for months because it's going to be a lot of work for them to edit all the stuff. But I know that there were people in the audience that recorded. My daughter recorded a little bit, but like they were all heads. So you couldn't really see much of me. You could hear something. So I might post some of that, but I'm still waiting for some of the messages to come in to tell me like, oh, I recorded something else. And maybe out of that, I could piece something together. Hi, Florista. You're back too. So female voice, high voice. The most important thing is you want to come from this place that we talked about yesterday of openness, resonance, placing the vowels to where they're bright, they're overtone rich, they're forward, you're supported. And that is very important now. Your vocal cords, we want them to have good adduction, meaning they close very efficiently. If you have breathiness, it's going to make it very hard to sing higher. And I actually always tell myself, like, I don't really want to demonstrate the wrong way too much because it's really bad for my voice. So, but let me not go too high and be breathy, but see how it's giving me trouble. I'm getting tense. I'm getting tight in the back of my throat if I am breathy. So breathiness is your enemy when it comes to singing high in opera. You don't want breathiness. What you can do is, of course, I talked about this yesterday, inhalare la voce, like that principle of it almost feels like you're holding your breath because you're never really exhaling a lot because you have such good vocal cord adduction. They close so efficiently that no air really gets lost. All the air is just solely translated into frequency, the frequency of the pitch you're singing, of the note. And then added to that is, of course, as we shape the resonating chambers, that is added as overtones to that frequency that the vocal cords create. So that airflow, minimizing breathiness, controlling how much you're pushing out by having really good support. That doesn't mean you get rigid. Support is a very dynamic thing. As I'm moving up and down a musical phrase, and you know what? I'm not just going to talk. I'm definitely going to sing some phrases and show you practically what this means. Maybe let's see, which one am I going to? I have the coloratura book here because the next one I actually want to work on is Je suis Titania from Mignon. You know? It's really cool. It's very challenging, but I want to do it. So let's do again. Well, let's actually do this one. Okay. This is really challenging. So because we can stress all the principles from yesterday again, singing through the vowels and connecting even the voiced consonants. Okay, I need my beginning pitch here. Let's get the handy piano app going. You need a piano app. Every singer needs it to get your pitches. Okay, so let's see. That would be an A. Okay, so here's my beginning pitch. So in the Mozart, durch Zärtlichkeit und Schmeicheln, die Entführung aus dem Serail. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Thank God I'm German. I would not want to learn German. So. Durch Zärtlichkeit und Schmeicheln, Gefälligkeit und Scherzen. It's still kind of in the middle voice, right? Erobert man die Herzen der guten Mädchen leicht, der guten Mädchen leicht. Okay, it's not really going that high, but still, here's the principle. Let's just say like anything maybe above the F sharp is a little bit higher. What you don't want to do is think wide. What you want to think is narrow, not the throat is narrow. No. The airstream and that the vocal cords are narrow. You're thinking a laser beam. That is your focus. Very supported, very little airflow because it's almost like you're keeping everything in. So instead of you're not pushing outward. You're keeping in. You're keeping it in. Okay? Durch Zärtlichkeit und Schmeicheln. I could get very soft and I could hang out on those high pitches forever because you do not need a lot of air if you have good adduction and you're just really letting out very little air. You don't want to push outward. Really think almost of inhaling. Okay, don't actually inhale as you sing long pitches. That's not very healthy. Yes, you can eliminate breathiness, but here's the thing. Singing is very much a muscular thing. So you wouldn't expect to bench press 500 pounds right off the bat. I don't know who does, but there are people who can bench press that much weight, right? What you would start with is maybe 20 pounds, and then maybe 30 pounds, and then 40 pounds, and then 50 pounds. In small increments, you will increase the weight, because your muscles, when they're not trained to do really heavy work, the heavy lifting, you're going to have to train first. They are not ready. And it's the same with singing. To get rid of breathiness, you literally have to train strength of your vocal cords. And in this case, the cricothyroids, they have to be really strong. It's what's engaged most when we sing in head register, to keep that nice adduction going. So semi-occluded vocal tract kind of exercises. And basically, I always like onset exercises where you practice like a very accurate onset, such as if you hear a lot of this, you feel like the air comes out, but no tone. That means you're very tense here and you're pushing too hard outward. Think more of inhaling. As a matter of fact, if you have extreme breathiness or like very much breathiness and you seem to like just not be able to get rid of it, actually do a moment of inhale, like, And do you feel how little air flows? Don't really do this a lot, but it's just to get this, It's very little air, and that's exactly what it should be outward. You barely give any air, because it doesn't take a lot of air. It takes very little air. Just think about this. When you wake up early in the morning and you stretch, what do? It's like, you do these really high pitches sometimes. If you're a female especially, it's like, when I stretch in the morning, I always do this. My twins, 2.5 years old, they always love it when I go like in the morning. Like this. And basically the very top is whistle tone. It's like, and then I transition into head voice. But that's really what it is. So just think about it. When you do this, it's almost like you're holding your air. You're holding your breath, because very little air flows, which means very lightly touching the vocal cords. You're not pressing against them. That is very important for high pitches. And I just did some, basically that really high squeaky, that's already whistle tone, which requires you to have an even lighter mechanism. So and then as I get back to head voice, I can be a little heavier. But let's do an exercise together. Let's do yow, like so. Yow, 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 Basically, I want you to do it fast. Do it fast. Don't think about it too much. Just think, whoa, whoa. That's the motion we want. Yes, if you can get a clean arpeggio, that's good for you. But if not, that's not what it's about. It's really about that sensation of you're doing a ooh, and as you go high, you're opening. You need to open. Being open is important. See, I was too heavy. And we're not going into whistle tone here yet. We're just really going up to head voice. All the way up to C, that's very safe. You could use like in head voice for sure. You don't need whistle tone until you could probably go to like D sharp easily in your head voice. Beyond that, you have to kind of transition and get even lighter. But actually, let's do. There's this from La Rondine, one of my favorite arias. Let's see if I can, maybe I can actually find an accompaniment track. I don't have the sheet music right now. I can't find it. La Rondine. It's probably buried somewhere. But, wait. I have to switch. I always have my YouTube app on my phone, and I have several YouTube accounts that I log in with when I watch different stuff. Because, like different topics, because then YouTube always suggests all these things, and I don't want to mix it all up. So now I'm on my main channel's login page, which that's where I watch like all the music stuff and the accompaniment tracks. Qu'il bel sogno accompaniment. Here we go. So okay, let's see. Let's sing a little bit through. I want you to watch what I'm doing, how non-heavy, how I'm not pushing out a lot of air, but how I'm kind of laser beam, kind of keeping it in. But I think I may need my glasses because it's, maybe I remember the words because it's like very tiny. It plays the sheet music, but it's very tiny.
Potendo indovinar il suo mister come mai finì. Mio giorno in un studente in bocca alla bacio e quel va che alla passione.
Now comes the part. Now it goes a bit higher. Okay, this is where I want to stop. So I actually messed it up here. I don't know if you heard it. I had a little flippy in there. It's because I wasn't staying focused. So it's so basically what you want to try is to sing soft on the top. You want to really inhale. You want to just breathe in that tone. You're not literally, but it's like, think of that early morning yawn. It's like, see, I'm not fully warmed up. See how I have a little lift there, but on that, is it an A or an A flat? I didn't just check. On that lower pitch, see how open I am. It's like, it's an ah, of course. We need that prerequisite of everything that I talked about yesterday. We're taking all that with us when we go higher now. We are not getting too heavy. We are thinking focused. We are thinking laser beam. We are thinking open. We are thinking forward. We're thinking supported. And not collapsing, very lifted here. And basically just think of that morning yawn, open and very little air. It's like, and then I can do stuff like, it shouldn't be too hard to get softer. It would have been kind of nice to warm up a little bit better. Didn't really have a warm up today. Hot ginger tea. It's the best. I make it so spicy because I put a lot of ginger in there. But really, honestly, to me, it always feels like just the ginger tea, that's almost like half my vocal warm up. Oh, thank you so much, Florista. I appreciate it. Sometimes when I am singing very high, it's hard to tell whether or not I am getting the note right. And it is a lot harder to fix it after singing the incorrect note a few times. How can I fix this? You mean you're actually singing the wrong note? That has something to do with your brain, of course. I would suggest record yourself often to kind of get that instant feedback. Or if you're actually practicing and you're not sure because you feel like you can't hear yourself while you sing, as you sing really high pitches, use that, or use a piano. I always do this. When I start learning a song, I always sit by the piano and I always play it out. And I check if I'm doing the right melody, the right pitches. Now, if it's a matter of hearing yourself, you could maybe, just to check yourself on the high pitch, you could go and do that Nail the Pitch app, where it just tells you kind of weird how it actually looks like it's almost jumping between. But it tells you where the note landed, and then you can double check. If you have no one else who can check it for you, who's there, who can tell you were sharp or flat. Here's what happens a lot. What happens a lot is that, sorry, I just got distracted for a minute. I forgot what I wanted to say. What happens? What was I just saying? Oh my gosh. I just looked at a message. Why did I do this? It's like, because as I was doing this, showing you, like a message came in and I was like, what? I can't. Lost it. And especially here, what's important to actually be consistent on the top is, it is difficult. Not everything is just vowels. There are consonants in there, which, yes, it does completely interrupt the nice openness and the flow of things. Like sogno, the word sogno, it's like, my goodness, why? Why can't we just like solo? That would be much easier, but sogno, it requires me to close this up here for just a second here. And we want it to be heard. See how I'm trying to work really hard? That's where those semi-occluded vocal tract exercises come in, to keep the consistent resonance going as much as possible. You can still open the back of your throat as you're singing these nasal sound, like sonio. It's not just an N. It's a little bit more than an N. It's a little bit more close. The GN in Italian is more like sogno. It's kind of between an N and an NG. It's a little closer to the NG than just a regular N. It's not sogno. It's sogno. I feel like my soft palate is a lot higher here. So what do we do when the soft palate is high? Like on an NG, sing. I mean, basically you have to learn to sing through that. But let's return back to this very small opening, between the vocal cords. It's really relaxing your face is very important. And then having that vertical space to start out with in the middle of your voice and to kind of take it up there. As long as you can keep that tallness in the back, the more brilliant your tone is going to be. Watch me. Watch the difference. sounds ridiculous, right? It's basically I'm choking myself off. Like, why can't I today? Yes, and you see also for that very high pitch, I'm lifting just a bit. I have to lift a bit because as I'm approaching actually my whistle, it has to get much smaller. Then it's like. It's not very clean right now, but that lifts a bit as I go even higher to whistle tone. I did want to touch on the male perspective here because it's quite different. And an SOVT, I think anything that is like, I think ni is very helpful. The sound ni, like ni, it's like ni, or no, you really want to get that sensation of very little air coming out. For me personally, that has helped me. So, but the male perspective, let's talk about it. So the male perspective, now I'm going to have to shift gears. I am not a tenor. I'm not a male classical singer, but I know the technique behind it. So basically, let's actually, I'm just trying to think, where can I demonstrate? Can we do a piece? Because I can't sing in the same key as a tenor would, for example, and then, it sits in a different space. Let's just go like, what if I did something like an exercise? So I need, first of all, more space. Okay. I want to keep that in the back of the throat, very, very tall. And what's very important for male voice is like Pavarotti said, basically, you need to you need in your practice, you need to sing a third higher than what your performance highest pitch is going to be. So if you're going to sing a high C, you should practice to at least like the E flat or something. So it is very much a muscular thing, but exercises that are very connected, that help you kind of keep that adduction going, are very helpful. Like, keep that lower larynx, keep it freely moving. Don't just, that's very constricted. And I'm totally not trained in that, but I can show you, it's like, you need that openness in the back of your throat. That is so important. Taking chest voice higher as a male singer. And then on the top, same principle as the sopranos, except you're going to be in your chest voice, then you're going to start mixing, and then you're going to start transitioning into your head voice. It's very important for a male singer to practice lots and lots of register transitions so that you're not having a flip happen easily. Because here's what happened when those thyroarytenoid muscles are not strong enough. When you haven't, when you can't lift those 200 pounds, when you can only lift the 20 pounds, they're not going to be strong enough to sustain that weight on the top to actually, without breaking. And then it's going to do what I just did, and then it's gonna be tense and narrow. You want to try to keep that as nice, open as possible. Let me go a little bit lower because I haven't trained it. See, again, it's like I haven't trained that voice, and those muscles are not that strong. No, it's too high for me. Now I need to probably think more about my pop voice. Yeah. It's easier for me because that's kind of the coordination that I have trained. But keep that space in the back. But that laryngeal tilt is very crucial. Oh, and I wish you could all watch my Better Mix course because it's actually very relevant. I just published it this week. It's on my website, masteryvoice.tv. Mastering the mix. The mix is not a register. It's just balancing between the two registers and connecting them to where it's seamless and without the flip. What you just heard me do. And then it flips, which is of course nothing we want. We want to have a smooth transition. And I'm trained to have this, but in classical singing, we do need more space in the back of the throat. For some reason, my muscle memory is like when I'm doing more of a pop voice. The mix, so I just transition between registers. And it's so important to have not this, I can only sing high when I'm like yelling. You have to be able to actually take it back a notch. And I think messa di voce exercises or changing dynamics are really helpful here. Start out soft. So first you go soft then loud, which means you probably are already transitioning registers, because if you're singing a high pitch, you're starting out, you can't sustain that high pitch if you're fully arytenoid engaged, thyroarytenoid engaged, heavy chest voice. You can't, because it's not heavy. So you're starting in a falsetto and then you are transitioning as you are crescendoing, you will transition into the full chest voice mechanism. So and you can also practice the other way around. And you can feel how it sits different, how when you take it softly, that high pitch, you have to transition into your falsetto or head voice. In pop, we call like a falsetto is more of a breathy head voice, but oftentimes in classical music, people, falsetto is like just the male head voice, but I don't know. It's a definition thing. But you will need, as a male singer, you will need your head voice. You will need that falsetto. You will need that transition through that main passaggio, that big break in the voice. It's not going away. Hi, Georg. I have had male teachers who couldn't help me with my high notes. Maybe it's because of the difference in technique. Yes, it's very different because a male singer, but that doesn't mean he couldn't help you. He could probably help you, but it has to be probably someone who could at least show you in their range what it would be like. So it would have to be a male who can actually sing in high head voice in their range, of course. They're not going to sing an E6, probably. Most likely not. But if they sing this in their range and they show you this, then they can demonstrate. It's the same with a female voice, like what if I were just a classically trained soprano, it would be harder to demonstrate. My teacher, she was really great at demonstrating, but my goodness, she could hit low notes. It was crazy. She had this huge range and she would go, and she would just like for the guys, when she would demonstrate, she's like, yeah. And she would just like do crazy sounds because she could demonstrate. So it's not necessarily true that a male teacher can't teach a female or a female can't teach a male. Yes, you can't quite anatomically, most likely, we're not going to have the same range. A male voice usually sits lower. It doesn't even matter if it's a tenor, if it's a high voice, it sits lower. Just because anatomically the size, it's like men often have larger feet. It's just a fact. So just the anatomy of it makes it, to where we're just not probably going to have the same range. But you can still be taught. Okay, so let's recap real quick. What's important is for the female singers to not push against the vocal cords, to focus on good adduction, i.e. closure of the vocal folds. Good cord closure is really important. That laser beam airstream that is very focused, not wide, no breathiness. Translate every bit into the vibration of the vocal cords. It's almost like holding your breath, and it's almost like inhaling. And that exercise, so just like for a quick moment to inhale, it helps you just to feel how little air is required for those high pitches. And think of that morning yawn as you're stretching. That's the sensation. Very little air, but also not tense here. Try to keep it free. Support, resonance, openness is really important, because then you don't have to push as hard. As a male singer, it's very important. Train your chest voice to go higher, and then really focus on getting a really good transition between registers, because when you sing high, you're going to need that transition and that mixing. And again, I just a few days ago, I created a brand new course, Mastering Your Mixed Voice. It's important because that's the bridging between the chest and head register, which you're totally going to need, especially the male voices. You're going to need that mix as you go higher. So otherwise, it's going to sound like you're yelling really hard, which is, number one, not always in accordance with the piece you're singing. Maybe you're supposed to sing softly. And also, it's very tiring if you always have to yell the top. It just doesn't sound probably good if you always just have to be loud and yelly on the top. You want to be well supported and controlled. And yes, any of this, whether you're male or female voice, having a good, consistent vibrato is going to make all of the difference. What would it sound like if I went like, well, it feels really hard to do that. It sounds very screechy, right? That nice vibrato. I watched a video today by, I don't remember even the name. It was by another, like a vocal coach, very small YouTube channel, below 1,000 followers, which doesn't mean it's like not good. It was very good. Good lesson. He was teaching like how to sing higher. He was like a tenor. And why am I going blank today? He was teaching this lesson. Oh, and the vibrato, like, as he was demonstrating, I was thinking like, he has such an amazing voice, but the vibrato, it's like, it makes him flat. So he did like, like that. And the way the vibrato was, it just made it flat. He was slightly below pitch. And I was thinking, he's amazing at singing these high pitches and demonstrating that. But then the vibrato is like, for me, it's like, destroying a lot of stuff, a lot of the good stuff. So your vibrato can make or break everything. Really, it's a huge difference. Not too wide, not too shaky and small. Very consistent, very round. I mean, just versus see how edgy that is? It's not round anymore. When I go, that's too wide. It's edgy. It's not in the center of the pitch anymore. You want it to be subtle, noticeable, but very, very round and controlled. Yes, you love my first book. Well, thank you so much. yes, I'm actually writing another book right now. I have just begun, and I'm working on the second chapter. I think I made the outline. 14 chapters. So I'm only on chapters 2. So it's going to be months probably before I finish this up. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I'm not telling you the name of it yet. It's going to be about something fun for a lot of singers out there who are not professional or anything like that yet. So, any questions about any of this? Should I just sing an aria now? Let's see. Do I have one that's not too terribly long? Oh, this coloratura book is probably... This is a long one. This is a long one. This one I haven't practiced. Now, maybe I'm not going to do coloratura. Let me check my other book. Okay, where is it? Here we go. This is the other book. Let's see. Ah. No. I think it should be in this one too. It is actually in this one. Oh no, it's in here. Okay. It's kind of a coloratura. 101. Okay. 101. Let's sing one piece and before I wrap it up. Okay. One thing I wanted to mention, and then I'm not going to say anything else about it. I did want to make another live stream, not completely just about this. Has anyone here heard about this Ken Tamplin debacle? Anyone here familiar with Ken Tamplin, vocal coach? So apparently, it's actually Wings of Pegasus is a channel that I frequently watch because he analyzes vocals. He strips them from the arrangement, and because I always say it, I always get a lot of hate when I do my reaction videos on my main channel and I comment that this singer apparently there's auto-tune going on. And then they're always like, no, they're an amazing singer. You're totally wrong. They don't need auto-tune. And I totally agree that those singers don't need auto-tune. But the fact is that it's just such common practice nowadays. So even singers who don't need it, it goes on a lot. And you can hear it. You can totally hear it. Anyone is like, just listen for it. You can totally hear it because it destroys the resonance, like the overtones. You can hear auto-tune. I can hear it in my sleep. It's like, I know what it sounds like. So, Ken Tamplin was not accused of just using auto-tune, which everyone does nowadays. I don't like it because I hate the sound of it. It really actually only works when you have good intonation, because it snaps the pitch to the nearest half step. If you're too far off, if you're someone who can't sing on pitch, it's actually going to make it sound so much worse. So you have to be someone who's actually pretty good and slightly off, but that's what we want. We want humanness, and it just sounds horrible. But Ken Tamplin got accused of lip syncing, which isn't bad, but if you are going to announce this, by the way, this is all 100% live, and you talk bad about other singers and basically say, I'm the one who can do it all, and I can teach you everything, which is complete baloney, because he could not teach me to sing a coloratura aria. Maybe he's claiming for a male rock voice. Maybe that's what he meant, but he kind of made it a slogan where the proof is in the singing, and always claims this is all completely live, and then he made videos this is how you sing like Michael Jackson, which of course that is not even a claim that I can sing like Michael Jackson. I can analyze it and I can tell you like, this is what he's doing. And I can demonstrate to some degree, but of course, I'm not claiming that I'm better or that I'm as good as. It's not what I'm claiming. Even like if you're doing a reaction and you're like, oh, this is what they're doing, or this was maybe not 100% accurate. It's never saying that like, oh, but I'm better. This is not what it is, but that's kind of how he always came across. And then it turns out that that's all not true. Like it was not sung all the way live. It was recorded, it was pre-recorded. You heard the processing, you heard the difference, and it was lip-synced. That's all I'm going to say about it. Why am I saying this? Because what I like to do on my channels is, bye-bye Florista, sorry. What I like to do on my channels is just to show this is what happens to human beings, singers who are human beings, everyone. I can guarantee Celine Dion, when she practices, things go wrong. Pavarotti, when he practiced, things go wrong. Yes, his voice broke in his warm-up sessions. It's not what he shared with the world, but it's normal and it has to happen. And that's why I love on this channel, especially raw and real. And I'm like, I'm going to whip out this aria right now and I'm just going to try to sing it. And if something goes wrong, I can tell you like, this is what I should have done. And this is what I need to focus on, because there's always a solution to the problem. I think that's the main takeaway of anything I want to show you is like, when something is not working out with your voice, when there's like, you feel like I can't get this pitch, or there's like a problem and it doesn't sound good, there's a solution. If it is within your range, if it's doable, and the solution isn't, I'm only going to sing if it's perfect. Okay, so I'm going to do, here we go. Romeo et Juliette. I don't know why lately I've been hanging around all those French arias a lot, but it is what it is. So, Je veux vivre from Gounod. Romeo and Juliette. Haven't sung it in forever. Not like really.
Je veux vivre dans le rêve qui m'enivre ce jour encore douce flamme. Je te garde dans mon âme comme un trésor. Vivre dans les rêves qui m'enivrent ce jour encore douce flamme. Je te garde dans mon âme comme un trésor. Cette ivresse de jeunesse n'est dure hélas qu'un jour. Puis vient l'heure où l'on pleure, le cœur cède à l'amour. Et le bonheur fait son retour. Vivre dans les rêves qui m'enivrent longtemps encore
right, this is so much fun. I know what I could have done different. Those faster parts, I should have, I should have played those out with that's probably if I were to perform this, I would play those out with a piano a few times and really like do accuracy. The thing about fast parts is you have to completely do them by heart. You can't be thinking about them anymore. As long as you're thinking about it, it's like too slow. You're too slow. So yeah, a lot of things I would change. Some of the French was crappy. I would, as I was thinking, like, it's always useful to slow it down first and kind of really focus on language first. And then, yeah, I would do a few things differently if I were to perform it and actually practice it. And I haven't done this for a while. So, but it's always fun to kind of whip out. Here's the thing, like, for me personally, like, this is a piece that I did the first time in college, like many years ago, and I hated it. It was hard for me. It was like moving so fast and it's hanging out there. Oh! It was very tense. And it just feels much better now, my voice. I'm telling you, I guarantee if you practice and you keep on, I should be performing every day. Yes, I know there's always endless things to do. You know this, Susan. Endless things to do. And never enough time for everything that you want to do. Especially when you have 3 kids, you're on your own with 3 kids and like twins, 2.5-year-old twins. It's a lot. Yeah. And you should always stay humble as a singer, I think, like, because you could be, I'm very grateful for the instrument that God gave me. But I'm not taking it for granted. And I know that everything I do is going to be work. To sound really good and to sound polished, it's work. The doll song that I performed last weekend, it took a lot of intentional practice. It took some mindset reframing because, yes, was I worried? No, I was never worried about that high pitch, but it ended up actually working out pretty well. So, and I'm going to see if I have small little clips that are very bad quality. Like my daughter used her phone to record a little piece of it because they wanted to watch me, like, not look through the phone. But I'll see. Maybe I'll post something because the professional video is not going to be done for months. Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out. Come back tomorrow. We're going to talk about low voice. Be blessed. Talk soon. Bye.